It all started when I got a used copy of Pokemon Green off eBay. It was the game I'd begged my parents so much for, in its box, straight from Japan. Pokemon Green. Pocket Monsters, as it said on the cover. I stared in awe at the large Japanese letters under the Venusaur. I didn't know what it meant, but I just assumed it was Japanese for green. Then again, it could be the Japanese name for Venusaur. I was just too psyched to have a copy of this game to care. I thought about how lucky I was to have this, and how jealous my Pokebuddy at school would be. Before I could think of anything else, my sister butted in. "So, what do you think of your Japanese game? You gonna open it?" "Oh, sure," I replied. Everyone gathered around me as I gently opened the box, and slowly slid the grey cartridge out of the box. I then put it on the table next to my Game Boy Advance SP. The town map and the manual instruction book soon followed. "So, do you like it?" asked my mum. "Is it what you expected?" "I love it, and it's just how I imagined it would be," I said excitedly. "Alright, well, I have to go drop off your sisters. Will you be fine by yourself?" "Yeah, I'll be fine," I said. "Okay then," my mother said as she walked out the door. "Bye, I love you." "Bye." The door slammed shut. I then popped Pokemon Green into my Game Boy and took everything that came with the game with me. Once I was in my room, I put the box on my desk. I then laid out the town map on my bed. "Wow," I said to myself. It really was quite impressive. But Cerulean City was smudged off with black marker and some poor Japanese writing under it. Like the person was frantically writing it down. It was as if the previous owner was trying to warn me not to go there. But I just shrugged it off. I have Pokemon Green, so I should probably just play it already. So I turned the power on. It showed the dates and everything. The companies, the Game Freak logo, along with the stars that flew by it. Everything was normal. And it stayed that way. I picked Charmander, battled my rival, ran an errand for Professor Oak, caught a Caterpie, and leveled it up until it was a Butterfree. After all of that, I decided to take a break. I saved, turned my Game Boy off, and decided to play some Pokemon Emerald. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get Pokemon Green out of my Game Boy. It seemed to say to me, "I'm not done with you yet." "I better just leave it in there," I said to myself. "I don't want to break it." So, I just decided to play some more. After a while, I got to Cerulean City and beat the trainers on the Nugget Bridge. I decided to do the Mew glitch. I'm not really big on glitches, but I thought that would be fun to do. So, I started looking around the grass for an Abra. This is when the game started to get a little weird. Before I could take one step into the grass, a text box showed up, but the text was in English. "Are you enjoying your game?" A yes/no option showed up. I was a little freaked out, but I told it the truth and chose yes. "That's good. We'd hate for you to be unhappy. That's our only purpose. To make sick people like you happy. It's sickening how you call this fun. Is torturing poor innocent creatures fun to you in your world?" Yes or no showed up again. Of course, I chose no. Then why do it here? Are we really any different? You and your kind are a sad, sadistic race that torment us just because we're different. And not only that, but you capture our people and force them to fight against their own species. Why do you do this? For your own enjoyment. It's not right. I'm going to show you how we felt all these years. A battle soon began. In a few seconds, I found myself face to face with an Abra. His Pokemon Green sprite was already disturbing, but the game being black and white, and the circumstances I was under, made it worse. But the music is what scared me the most. It was silent at first, but then I heard sudden loud beeps and garbled up notes. Then there were loud buzzing noises, like those in the original Lavender Town theme. But at least one thing was normal. Everything was in Japanese again. I soon sent out my Charmeleon and chose Scratch. The text went back to English again. Lizardo will not obey. What the heck? I said in shock. That's right. My kind are no longer slaves to you. I freed them. Suddenly, my Charmeleon slid off the screen, as if a Pokemon had used Raw. Lizardo was freed. Butterfree was freed. Purin was freed. I was speechless. All my Pokemon had left me. What was going to happen now? I hoped that my trainer would white out and I would end up in a Pokemon Center. But to my horror, the trainer sprite slid onto the screen, and the game said, Red entered the fight. I'm not done with you yet. I'm going to make you experience all the pain and suffering you humans had us go through. Cassie used psychokinesis. I suddenly felt an agonizing headache. It was psychic. Ugh! I moaned in agony. Are you enjoying yourself? No? I am. Cassie used excessive poison. I then felt a sharp pain running through my veins. The pain grew worse and worse as it continued. It was toxic. You feel such pain, don't you? Wouldn't it be nice if someone or something could put an end to all this? I can make it happen. All you have to do is let go. Let go of your life. It's worth nothing. Therefore, you have nothing to lose. It was then that I realized something. The power button. I decided to use the last of my strength to turn off the game and end this madness. Come on. Don't bring any more pain into your sad, pathetic existence. Join me. I can grant you a new life. A life free from any suffering. Won't you join us? Yes or no? An insincere smile went across my face. No. I switched the power switch off. The garbled music stopped, and changed to what sounded like distorted screams and laughter. The game seemed to freeze for a second or two, but then it started to corrupt. All kinds of graphics from all over the game flew across the screen, with the animation for Toxic played 3 times its normal speed. Static appeared on screen every few seconds, giving the impression of an old TV. Suddenly, that Abra gave me a very sinister look. An Abra's cry then played over and over. It seemed to say, join us, join us, join us. What did I do? I stuttered. As soon as I said that, everything stopped. You did this to yourself. The Abra then disappeared into the static, along with the entire screen. The pain then reached an unbearable height, and everything went dark. But before I went out, I heard a voice in my head. Don't say no to me, child. Don't say no. When I woke up, I found myself in hospital with my entire family staring at me, full of concern for my well-being. Mom? Dad? I managed to say. Son, you're alive. My dad cried as he softly hugged me. What happened? I asked. We found you passed out on the floor with your game in front of you. At first we thought you were asleep, but when we turned you over to put you into bed, we saw blood foaming out of your mouth and a huge stain of blood on the carpet where your head was. We called 911 as soon as we saw you. When they came, we found out that you'd been poisoned. It was a miracle that you were still alive. They managed to get all the poison pumped out of you and took you to the hospital. My sister then took out my Game Boy, with Pokemon Green in the slot. I thought you might want to play your game, so you don't get bored, so I brought it here. I don't know how, but I swear the game talked to me and said, "Come join us, child." No! I grabbed the Game Boy and threw it across the room. Go to hell, you demented monster! I'll never join you! I tried to get out of bed so I could smash that possessed cartridge, but the nurse in the room held me back and called for some doctors. We're sorry, but you'll have to leave. We'll take care of your son, the nurse said politely as she scooted them out. When my family left, the nurse got out a needle and had that same soulless face as that Abra. She started chanting, "Join us," along with the other doctors as she slowly moved towards me. I tried to scream, but the doctors covered my mouth. All I could do was make muffled shrieks of terror. The nurse slowly injected that long, sharp needle into my side. It pierced into my side so deep, I could feel it touch my inner organs. I then started to feel ooze going through my body. It burned like boiling water as it went through my body. The needle seemed to be stuck in my body for hours. It was the most unpleasant thing I've experienced in my entire life. Finally, the nurse said something again. "If you won't join us, we're going to join you." I suddenly felt physical changes with my body. My skin starting to turn yellow and brown. My bones starting to shift in different angles. I felt my head form into a triangle. My shoulders started to point out and move upwards. I felt my arms become smaller until they were weak and I could barely move them. I felt my ears dissolve into the sides of my face and new ones form atop my head. I felt my toes disappearing into my feet and my fingers into my hands and claw-like things replacing them. And with one painful jerk, I felt a tail shoot out from behind me. My changes were complete. I had joined them. I woke up with a terrible scream. I found myself drenched in sweat as I lifted myself from the bed. I looked at the clock. It was 2:08 in the morning. And then I noticed it. Pokemon Green next to the bed. I picked it up and examined it. "What do you want from me?" I said to it. To my shock, it talked back. "I want you to join us." "No, I'll never become one of you," I screamed at it. I opened the window and threw it outside, but the game levitated, right back into the room in front of me. The Venusaur's mouth moved as it spoke to me in its deep, oily voice. "You can't get rid of us. We're your friends now. Won't you join your friends?" I stared in horror as it got even closer to me. "You're not my friends. Get away from me. I can crush you like a twig." The Venusaur's vines came out of the cover and held me by the neck. "You'll either join us or die." The Venusaur started to charge a hyper beam. I tried my best to get out of his grasp, but he wouldn't let go. It was all over for me, and I had nowhere else to run. But just then, I saw the glass of water next to my bed. "I'll give you one last chance. Join us, and you won't suffer the consequences." I picked up the water. "Take this!" and I threw it onto the game. The Venusaur screamed as he let go of me. This was my chance. I ran out of the door. "Get back here." The cartridge chased me down the hall. "Now you're going to pay." The Venusaur unleashed his hyper beam. I managed to avoid it as I jumped to the side. "Ha! You pathetic human. You can't escape from us." The Venusaur used Razor Leaf on me as I tried to reach the stairs. I screamed as the leaves pierced my skin. Blood was now trickling down from all over my body. But I had to keep running. It was the only way to survive. The game flew right over me and blocked the stairwell. "Now you're going to pay." The Venusaur started to charge up another hyper beam. There was nowhere to run. It was a long, narrow hall with nowhere to dodge. Wait a minute. There was a window. I was on the second floor, so I had a fair chance of living. "Have fun in hell," the Venusaur stated before he unleashed his hyper beam. That was my move. I jumped out of the window, just in time to avoid the hyper beam. Luckily, I landed on an ambulance that was pulling out. I grabbed onto the blaring sirens on top of the ambulance. Just when I thought it was safe, I felt something wrap around my feet. "You fool. You think you can escape from me?" The Venusaur started to yank hard on my feet to pull me off. I held hard onto the sirens. I tried my best, but my hands started to slip. "Oh God, please help me," I said hopefully. "No one can help you now," said the Venusaur sinisterly. "You're mine." With one last yank, I was pulled off the ambulance, but I felt something help me grab onto the handles on the back of the ambulance, almost by magic. "What?" said the Venusaur, quite puzzled. "Let go already." Suddenly, I saw the ambulance going by the intersection to my house. I jumped onto a pickup truck and headed there. I was almost free. "No, you're not gonna see your family again as long as I'm here." The Venusaur tried to pull me out from the back of the truck. I continued to hang on for dear life. "Fine. If you're not gonna budge, I'll kill you where you are." The Venusaur started to charge up his hyper beam. Well, this was it. It was either let go or be killed. I didn't know what else to do. Suddenly, I heard a loud thud and I was let go. I fell down and so did the back of the truck. I managed to still hang on to the back though, and pulled myself back up. I looked back and saw the cartridge got all tangled up in a tree. "Thank God," I said to myself, although I knew it would still be after me. At least I was safe for the time being. When the truck passed my house, I jumped onto the grass and I landed on my face. But at least I was home. I had quite the story to tell, even though no one would believe me. If my parents ask, I'll just say the hospital dropped me off. But that game is still out there, out to get me. I'm not even sure if it's a game anymore. Whatever you do, don't buy used Pokemon games. In fact, don't buy any more video games. Stay away from them. It'll make him angry. And whatever you do, don't join them. Thanks for sticking around to the end. And if you enjoyed today's story, make sure to leave a like. And if you want more like it, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a story. If you need more now, why not check out my Pokepasta playlist? I'll leave that on this card, and I'll catch you in the next story.